Hello and welcome to The Peaceful Place. I'm your host, Melissa Field, and today I want to dive into a question that I myself do not have the answer to, and I may not come to an answer by the end, and that is part of kind of the scariness and the overwhelming intensity of the times we are in is so many questions don't have answers. And on top of that, many people are finding different answers. People are responding to what's happening in different ways. They have different ways of navigating this, of finding what works for them. And so the question that I am facing today, and that I have been facing, is how do I show up as a writer and share my creative works and feel that this is an okay thing to do, or that I even should be doing this with everything that's going on. And I know a lot of people feel this way who are small business owners, artists, musicians, people who offer a service. How do we show up at these times and even promote ourselves? Feels like a very overwhelming question. So first of all, I think it would be good if we tuned into our bodies and brought in some calming energy to our nervous system. Your nervous system has most likely been firing on all cylinders nonstop for weeks, if not longer. And it's not always about anxiety. That's one way that our nervous system just gets activated and even inflamed, but it can be ongoing anger. And I myself have been feeling a lot of anger, and anger is absolutely a normal and even appropriate reaction to what's happening. I think it's almost impossible not to be angry, but sustained anger can also wear down our nervous systems. And so we want to bring healing in for all of the fear, the sadness, the anger, the anxiety, because if we get worn down, we are not going to be able to resist this for however long it takes. And I think for a lot of us, we've been in this energy of we're in a sprint. It feels like nonstop every day, but we are in a marathon. So let's approach it that way and just give ourselves permission to nurture our nervous systems for the sake of showing up and being present for however long it takes to get through this. And we're going to get through this. We will see ourselves to the other side of this. So what I want you to do right now is just take a deep breath. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to feel as if a waterfall of energy is pouring down over you. I like to see it as a white light, or you could see it as like a blue light, almost as if it's water itself. And it's just, it's rinsing through you. It is rinsing away everything you've already felt. And because we have to clear space, there's going to be more feelings, more things that happen. So let's just release some of what's weighing on us. It's already happened, and we're just going to clear space so that we're in alignment and can be ready for what happens next. And what happens next, we don't know, and that's really scary. There's no reason to pretend it's not scary. The unknown of what's happening right now, it's scary. So I just want you to feel that light washing down you, rinsing over you. And just knowing that whatever you feel, whatever you've been experiencing throughout this, that is correct. Your feelings are valid. And I myself haven't really been able to bring down my stress and my anxiety. And I keep trying to, and I just have to remind myself that there's no correct way to go through an intense, overwhelming experience where we are scared for our families, our friends, our neighbors, our communities, when we don't know what the next thing is going to be. It's okay, and I want you to remind yourself that your body is strong. No matter how much your nervous system has been activated, your body is so much stronger than you realize. Your body has incredible, miraculous healing properties. And I want you to just right now visualize every cell of your body calling in that divine healing energy that dwells within you at all times, no matter what. No matter how much stress, anxiety, fear you feel, it's kind of like a surface tension, because below that love, that light, the divinity that you are, it cannot be destroyed. There is a light inside of you that is bigger and stronger than everything that is happening. It is the light of creation. It is the light that created this entire universe and beyond. There is nothing stronger than that, and there is a love within you that is so much more powerful than everything, and that is going to be what brings us through this. The love is what we need, and the love is how we survive this. So normally when I sit down to record these episodes, I have a pretty clear idea of what I want to talk about, what I want to share. And if I'm working through something, I'm already in a place where I kind of have an idea of where my healing or my insight is going. So this is the first time I've sat down with a question that I don't know how I would answer it. And it's the question of, how do we show up still embracing ourselves, our livelihood, our passions in times where it can feel almost inappropriate to be sharing what we do. And it led me into a place of paralysis. So let me back up a little bit to why this is important to me and how I got here. About 3 years ago, I started writing a novel, and it's something I have thought about for almost 10 years now. And the idea for this novel was actually planted in me at this point almost 25 years ago, when I had this job in Antarctica where I experienced all this isolation and the extremes of being kind of disconnected from the natural rhythms of life. And so this idea grew into what happens to astronauts when they leave the rhythms of Earth and they are put into extreme isolation. And I was so curious about this because they were actually doing studies on people while I was there about the conditions of going to Mars. Being isolated in Antarctica, particularly for the winter rovers, was a pretty close simulation to the Mars astronauts' journey. Okay, and let me pause here and say, as I start to talk about this, I'm starting to feel weird. I'm feeling the discomfort of, this is not okay. We can only talk about what's happening. Anything else is not appropriate. So even as I talk about this, I'm struggling. And whatever you've been struggling with, just know that other people feel that way and we don't have answers. And that's really what I just want to offer you right now is, it's okay to be lost and confused and to feel yourself shifting moment to moment. I started to talk about that and I was enjoying what I was talking about, but then I caught myself enjoying it and it felt like, no, this is wrong. So this is just the reality of the times we're in. We are going to feel the ground shifting below us constantly, and it's tough. It's scary. Don't forget to take care of yourself and do that nervous system work. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So back to what I was talking about. I finally got to a place where I was like, it's time to write this novel. I felt just the overwhelming creative urge surging through me of tell this story, write this story. It is burning inside of you. And I felt like I couldn't not do it. And so I started about 3 years ago, and then I got to a place of completion with it, and I started pitching it, and I got nowhere. I didn't get any positive reactions. Out of 200 queries, one agent was somewhat interested, but she decided not to pursue it. So I decided, you know what? I put a lot of time into this and I feel so strongly about this story. And I love that I wrote something that is psychological sci-fi that gets into the emotional component of space travel. I have always loved cosmic exploration and just the idea of going out to distant planets and exploring what else is in the universe. But there, for me, is often this human component that gets left out of it. The warmth of a living, breathing person experiencing unknown frontiers. And so I wrote the story that I wanted to read, which is these 5 astronauts go to Mars and they are just completely broken psychologically by this, and it is a story ultimately of resilience. And something tragic happens. I don't want to give too much away because what happens and how they move through it is kind of like a big part of the end of this book. And so I loved every character I created. I loved the journeys they went on. I loved the story. And it was the beginning of January when I decided this isn't going to get published traditionally. It's not going to happen how I thought it would. So I will self-publish it. And as I began putting my package together, and I felt pretty overwhelmed by this. I don't know anything about marketing, cover design, formatting a novel. I felt, as I'm going through this, feeling this mixture of like excitement, hope, fear, dread, some sadness because I did get all those rejections. So kind of moving through that. Everything in our country just starts going from bad to worse in this ongoing loop where it feels like it's gotten worse, then it gets more worse, then it gets more worse. And it just keeps spiraling down. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm just overwhelmed with the sensation of, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should still share this. And because later on in the book, as I said, something tragic happens, it's like, is this even appropriate? Or is this something where I just need to let it, put it into the hands of people and let them decide for themselves what they want right now? I mean, just really overwhelmed by all of it. So I finished and I've pretty much finished, and I did share my book on my Instagram stories when I had a free Kindle day, because I know for the most part my friends look at my stories and it doesn't go out to a lot of people, but I have not put it in my grid, and I have not officially shared the paperback and the hardback, and I am just really in that position of what is the right thing to do at these times. I just kind of go back and forth between, okay, my cat just jumped on my desk and he's going, Scrabbles. Come here, bud. And for me personally, I've really just been kind of paralyzed, but I don't like that because it gives me this feeling of kind of like they've won without even doing anything. It's like they want us to be so afraid that we don't live our lives. And it's like, I just feel backed into a corner. I want to give my time, my energy, my love to the people who need it right now. And it feels really weird thinking and focusing. Scrabbles. My cat keeps jumping on and off my desk. Are you serious right now? Okay, you gotta get off the desk, buddy. You're making my microphone shake. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep losing my place because my cat keeps jumping on and off my desk, and it makes it shake. And then the microphone picks up the sound. Oh, he's trying to do it again. Scraggles, don't do that. Scraggles is kind of what do you call that? When you have a service dog, like a therapy animal. So I should not have him in here while I'm recording, but he just makes me feel so much better. And he is a rescue. He was severely malnourished and covered with these infected bites when I took him in. So his resilience just kind of makes me feel better in that aspect too, because he's so sweet and snuggly. So, okay, sorry for the sidebar there, but back to what I was saying. So, I haven't found a way through this. I have done it in a very small way that makes me feel comfortable and safe, which is sharing a free Kindle link to my friends. But as I record this, I have to look up at this shelf I have over my desk where I have a collection of drawings from an artist at the farmer's market. And every time I go, I buy one because they make me feel so much better. And they are so cute. There's a cat with a big bow and like a French beret. There's a rat holding a coffee cup and a briefcase and he's singing. There's a dog with a big puffy coat. There's a dog with a big puffy sweater. And there's a deer laying in the grass and it says, "I'm quite fond of you." So I know that people doing what they do is important. we need this. I would never want that artist to stop showing up because they feel that it's not appropriate to show up with their work right now. It is something that has brought me joy in a time that we need it. And I need that joy because I want to keep speaking up. I want to have the energy to get that out there and protest. But we can't just be drowning in the grimness of kind of everything around us. We need that joy. And so I think creating and sharing at these times might be a little bit of an inverse of what it normally is. Normally, I love to write because it makes me feel good. I just love to sit down and create stories and characters. But I think at this time, I have to think about it as this is more for people who need maybe a distraction. A story about going to Mars might be the exact thing somebody needs to just take a break and again, give the nervous system a chance to calm. And I picked up a book recently at the bookstore called Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is a book I probably wouldn't read in other times. It's a bit like this role player game where this guy is trapped underground and it's just like a weird video game type story. But I was like, yes, give me something that just allows me to escape reality for a moment. And for the author of this story, that can feel weird because they're not directly contributing to what's happening, but we all are actually contributing in our own way. So as I look at this art and these books, and I bought 2 other books from a local artist about their young adult books about elves who live in like a terrain kind of like where I live in the Central Valley of California. The writer was very inspired by where we live, and I read one of her books already, and I love these. And elves going through love stories and kind of like school stuff has nothing to do with what's happening. So it's very confusing, I think, to be the person sharing it, because in our minds, it's like, this isn't directly related to what's happening. How am I helping? But we don't know how it's helping the person receiving it. And that's really where we have to step into a space of trust. So whatever it is you do, massage, coaching, music, maybe you share a product, maybe you have an Etsy store, it is important in a way that you're probably never going to know. And that is what is so challenging, because again, it's another unknown on top of so many unknowns. We don't know exactly how what we do is helping. And it really asks us to step out of ourselves and say, okay, I normally do this because I love it, I'm passionate about it, and step into a space of, this is going to help in a way I don't know. This is truly for someone else. I mean, it's kind of getting into a space of seeing it as a service that we're not going to ever know how it helped or even who it helped, unless you're doing one-on-one work, of course. If you're doing a massage or something like that, you know who you're working with, and they may tell you afterwards it helped. So, you know, as I said before, there's a lot of different answers and experiences that people are having, but as I say that, I think I've found a little bit of an answer myself in that I don't know exactly how this book is going to help or why it could be important at this time. I only know that being paralyzed and living in fear is exactly what the powers that be want. When they get us to freeze, they have already won, and I can't stand that feeling of just they've won kind of a mental game over me. So by coming on here and talking about this, first of all, I'm pushing back on my feeling that I have to just stay small and paralyzed because there's too much going on for me to really stand in my light and own this thing that I've spent years on. I mean, I started it before I ever could imagine where we would be today. And for you may have just started your thing very recently. And so it doesn't even matter, you know, it's not a competition of like, okay, I put so much time and energy into this and I really am owed the ability to share it. No, it does not matter how much time you've put into this. If it's brand new, it's important. Whatever it is you're doing or have invested in, it's important because it's what you truly have to share with the world. Even in good times, you would be sharing this because it benefits other people. So I guess we really just have to remember that we started this not only because we love it, but because it somehow, some way benefits other people. It's how we share in a co-creative world that is just full of so much diversity and color. And let's keep putting that out there. Let's keep filling this world with our just different colors of love and creativity and sharing our own unique selves. And as I'm kind of coming towards the end of what I want to say, I know I'm still going to struggle with this. I don't think I'm ready to make an Instagram grid post. And to me, that feels jarring because I've been sharing a lot of posts about what's been going on. I don't think I'm ready to make that tonal shift. But by coming on here, I've kind of taken a step. I've taken a step that feels safe to me. And that's what I would encourage you to do. Find the step that feels safe to you and take it. And there's a part of my book where one of the characters continuously says, sometimes all you can do is just take one step after another. And that's just been repeating in my head. Because in the book, they're facing just something that, well, like us, is very overwhelming and they are terrified. They don't know what they're going to find on the other side of this. And so this character just says, all we can do is take one step after another. And I think that really is the advice I'm going to give to myself, is take this one step at a time. And I think it's Martin Luther King who said, let me look it up actually, the quote about the staircase. Okay, so what he said is, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. And that has kind of been repeating in me also, because you can't always see what's going to come after this next step. And I want to share one other thing. There was a writer's fair at this holistic spiritual center that's in downtown Modesto, where anybody who wanted to share their books could. And if you were spiritually focused in your books, you were welcome to come. But the lady who did the Elf Love books, she was there. So it was just kind of open to anybody. And then they had like Reiki energy healing and somebody doing tarot and, runes readings, and there was a woman there sharing her witchy products of like spells and candles, and she had this protection and cleansing spray that I spray myself with every morning, and I say to myself, good vibes only, no Nazis, and it makes me feel so good. And after I bought it, we just had a little bit of a talk about how hard it is to show up right now and how it feels weird to be promoting yourself. And with everything going on with ICE and, people just in fear. And so that really just spoke to me that she was feeling that, but she didn't say it. She just showed up anyways and shared her offerings, and it's something that helped me. But she had no idea that she was going to help somebody before showing up. She just had to show up and be herself and put her creations out there. And she is Goddess Realm Creations _LLC on Instagram. And she told me that she's also on Etsy, and she was just a super, super cool person. And so, yeah, I think at these times, it's just so hard to see for ourselves the impact we make, but other people can see it. And so that's really just what I'm going to go forward reminding myself of, is I won't know exactly how this book is meant to be part of what's happening, other than I spent a lot of time on it. I felt very passionate about it, and I still want to share it, even though it feels uncomfortable and weird. And that's just kind of the times we're in. And I think what I've come to realize, what I'm realizing in this moment, is it's okay to feel uncomfortable. I'm never going to feel 100% comfortable with this, because I am a caring, compassionate person, and I'm just going to have to learn to hold two truths, which is that I'm very concerned about what's happening to people, and that I have something I want to share with the world. And I've never had to do this before. I've never had to show up while I'm feeling uncomfortable about what's happening in the state of the world. But another thing I know is, and I said this quite a few times in my last episode, is you cannot pour from an empty cup. So I put a lot of time into this book. I want to be a professional writer. This is how I would love to make my livelihood. And if I am not allowing myself to be supported, how am I going to give back? How am I going to donate to worthy causes? How am I going to donate to families impacted by what's happening? How am I going to have anything to give if I am not allowing myself to receive in some way? And please, please remember that. You cannot pour from an empty cup. What you do might not feel important, but I think, as I've talked about with my own examples of the drawings, the goddess spray, the books, everything is important in its own way right now. And maybe in ways we hadn't considered before. And also, by supporting these people, I am supporting people who are on the right side of things. So when people support you, they are supporting somebody who is going to do the right thing with what they're receiving. They are supporting somebody with values and integrity. And you do not have to take everything you have and pour it back out. You just need to take care of yourself, pay your bills, keep your lights on, take care of your kids, take care of yourself, nourish yourself. Because if you are not nourished, you will not be able to show up for this. They do want to wear us down and fatigue us. So by all means, receive and know that it's okay to be uncomfortable. You may not figure it all out. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, I can't get my stress and anxiety to come all the way down. And I have just accepted that that's how it's going to be for a little while. But I'm also reminding myself I am so much stronger than I give myself credit for. My body is strong. My mind is strong. So even while facing great discomfort with what you do, you are so much stronger and more capable than you are allowing yourself to feel. So I think I came to a partial answer, which is more than I actually thought I would get to while doing this. And let's just do a little bit more nervous system work before we finish this. I want you to take a deep breath in and out. And now feel a big bright white light in your heart. And it is nourishing you. It is nourishing your mind. It is bringing you the knowing that you are a good person. And however you show up, however you share your work, your creations, you are coming from a place of integrity. And just feel yourself in a big bubble of light that's going to protect you as you go forward. And now this feels a little bit weird for me to end this way, but I do want to share that the name of my book is Infinity Frontiers, and it's on Amazon, Kindle. I haven't quite finalized the paperback and hardback, but it is out there. I just need to get the physical copy to approve it. I've only gotten the digital proof, and it is a psychological sci-fi novel with some highs, some lows, and it ends in a place that I hope feels hopeful, because that is who I am as a person. Even in the darkest of times, I always hold on to my hope. And that's what I wanted to come through in this book. So, yes, I've shared my book in a tiny way. I know I didn't talk about it much, but the little bit I did make me very uncomfortable. So this was my step for today. And whatever it is you are working through, just know everybody's feeling this uncertainty and this overwhelm right now. And you may have listened to this and come to a different conclusion, to a different answer. And that's also just where you're at, where you're meant to be. So I wish you, I don't even know how to end this. I never know how to end these episodes, as with everything that's going on. I guess I just want to say thank you for joining me. It really means a lot to me that you're with me and that we can come together in these difficult times to talk about and work through things that have no clear answers. I'm Melissa, and this is The Peaceful Place, and I do hope that you feel love and connection as you go forward today.